On October 16, 2000, the body of a 24-year-old man was pulled from the Ocmulgee River in Macon, Georgia. When the state concluded its investigation, the paperwork told a very specific story. As this coroner's report shows, the official cause of death was listed as asphyxia by drowning, the manner, an accident. Steven Johnson was navigating a period of intense probation under an officer named Roger Stembridge, a man known in Macon's Black community for a long history of abusive and predatory behavior. On October 10th, Stembridge claimed Steven had failed a drug test, a charge Steven denied. Fearing the consequences and Stembridge's reputation, Steven fled on foot just as hinged handcuffs were being locked behind his back. A perimeter of roughly 20 local police and probation officers quickly surrounded the dense woods near the river. They closed in on a man whose hands were secured behind him, leaving him unable to break a fall or swim effectively. 6 days after that chaotic chase, Steven's lifeless body was finally recovered. Authorities claimed he had simply slipped away from the officers during the pursuit and drowned in the Ocmulgee. But the recovery revealed a physical impossibility. The officers reported chasing a man with his hands locked behind his back, yet Steven was pulled from the water with the handcuffs secured in the front, tied to his body with a knotted garment. The justification for the entire manhunt rested on Roger Stembridge's claim that Steven tested positive for marijuana that afternoon. The official GBI toxicology results show the truth of that day. Every tested substance, including marijuana, returned a result of negative. The chase was predicated on a false report. The official state record of Steven's death is an autopsy report authored by Dr. Melissa Sims. It contains an external examination that explicitly concludes the body showed no signs of physical trauma. When Renee McGhee finally saw her son at the funeral home, the body contradicted the report. She found holes in Steven's head, violently twisted legs, and missing teeth. Despite these injuries, the medical examiner had ruled out bone fractures through what she called book study and visual inspection. She didn't take a single X-ray of the body. The state-sanctioned autopsy functioned less as an investigation and more as a bureaucratic tool, erasing the evidence of a severe beating from the official narrative. After Renee had her son's body exhumed for an independent autopsy, the new findings told a different story. The examiner found abrasions across Steven's back that perfectly matched the strikes of a police billy club. Even the original report contained evidence of violence that was ultimately ignored. At the bottom of the musculoskeletal section, it documents bilateral petrous ridge hemorrhage of the temporal skull bones. This is internal bleeding at the base of the skull, caused by massive blunt force trauma. It is a finding entirely inconsistent with a simple drowning. The most definitive evidence against the state's narrative, however, was found inside Steven's lungs. The report states the upper airways were totally clear of debris and foreign material. More importantly, the examination found zero water in the lungs. A drowning victim inhales the water they are submerged in. When you place the clear lungs and internal skull bleeding alongside the billy club abrasions and missing teeth, the evidence indicates Steven Johnson was dead before his body ever entered the river. Following the recovery of the body, local officials immediately began managing the narrative. Deputy Coroner Lonnie Miley denied Renee her right to identify the body that night, while witnesses reported seeing officers applying mud to Steven's face to hide visible bruising. The system also deployed intimidation. Independent examiners who initially found evidence of trauma later admitted they were threatened into silence, fearing the professional consequences of contradicting the official story. Despite forged documents, missing X-rays, and the physical impossibility of the state's timeline, no one was held accountable. The official record remains accidental, and the officers involved kept their badges. These events reveal the interlocking nature of institutional authority. From the street-level arrest to the coroner's office and the state medical examiners, the various levels of the justice system function together to insulate law enforcement from the implications of Steven's death. Renee McGhee's decades-long fight serves as a call to action. She argues that true justice requires communities to organize, to demand absolute transparency, and to refuse to accept a paper reality when it contradicts the physical truth.